And then there should be like a little timer that goes off.
Yeah, it's on right now.
Alright, so each of you are going to get a piece of paper like this. And we're going to add your name. Okay, Devin down. No standing on chairs, so try and squeeze in somewhere. You'll put your name on here first so that before we get it wet. I will come around to your tables. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the whole thing all washed up.
I'm going to love this.
All washed up.
Yay, paper getting wet.
It looks like paper mache.
Until I get to your table, you'll be working on your doodles. And if you have all 12 doodles and designs already and your border, then you can use colored pencil to kind of outline your doodles and designs. We're not going to color them in at all, though. We're just doing the outline. So so this is pretty wet.
Yeah. It's wet.
And we're going to put it down in front of you.
It's going to get the tail all wet.
We're going to move this to the side here so that you can see. So hopefully most of you can see. And we're going to start from lightest to darkest. So, and then
Warm.
have some. There should be in the first, or actually, Drew, see those little cups there, those little buttercups? Oh, one more over, those round ones. You want to just fill that up with some water?
Hunter.
Okay. No. Okay. Yeah, that's so that my hands don't get cold. Because I'll be doing your paper. I don't want you guys to be doing it, so I'm going to come around to your tables. So you're going to have a cup of water. This is a medium-sized brush. And we're going to start with yellow, because that's our lightest. And we're going to stir it up a bunch, because if you don't stir it up a bunch, you're not getting the paint in there. Now this is going to be where we do the bleeding, so it's not going to be super bright. It shouldn't be a defined line. So we're going to put all the spots where we want yellow right now. And I'm starting from the outside first. I want you guys to get the outside because the outside's going to dry faster than the inside. If you can kind of see, it's kind of pooling on the inside a little bit. You can kind of...
There's an air bubble under it.
Yeah, it'll be okay. We'll try to lay them flat, but... So then, if I were to go to the next color, what would be the next...
Orange.
Darker.
Orange.
Okay, so we'll rinse this out.
Probably that light blue.
And we'll go to orange. And stir it up really good again, otherwise it's going to be too light. And then where do I start? In the inside or the outside first?
Outside.
Yep. Because otherwise it starts to dry up. And then we're going to need to add more water to these corners.
I want to bleed out. I want it to be really cool.
So it shouldn't be defined lines, okay?
What does defined lines mean?
See how this is like blending into the paper into the other colors? And they're really thick? If it's really dry, it's going to be more of a defined, like just a straight line. Because this is going to, so if I put orange next to, like in here, it's going to start to blend in with each other.
Yay.
There's also certain colors that you don't want to have close to each other, like purple next to yellow or purple and orange can make brown. And we're trying to keep this kind of light and bright. Okay, so what's the next color?
Red. Red.
Yeah, we'll go red. Stir these up a lot. And if you guys are missing colors, I can kind of get you some more. I mean, this is still good. Even though the paint is in the corners, you can still use it.
Whoa, that's juicy.
So I'm not dipping it in the water a whole bunch. And even what you guys paint today will look different as it dries.
So is this going to bleed through the paint? Whoa,
this is just the background part.
It's like
It looks like mold.
just like my
It looks like
Which color would be after red?
purple.
black,
Green.
Green is correct.
Oh, I thought you meant after as in like, never mind.
And there's two colors we're not using. We're not using brown, and we're not using black, because they're just too dark. Because we're going to do all of our dark painting.
But we can do purple and blue.
They look like little worms.
They are worms.
Worm.
Now, some of the things you can do, too,
Wormsies
is, see how this moves? Or
Whoa,
maybe
dude,
we'll
that's
go this
awesome.
way so it's
That
easier.
makes me so happy.
Whoa.
Whoa.
cool.
Smudgy.
It's gonna slow on the table.
Okay.
Happy in the pounds.
That looks
Then we'll go to, next we're going to do blue, because purple
blue.
can get very, very dark. It's almost like black. But you can kind of see, like, see how I'm putting this in here? It's not bleeding as much. We might need to add some water to those spots. So if you have, because I kind of left the outside for a while, we might need to add water back into it.
Looks like a stick.
And,
It's a stick.
Lilo and
It's a stick.
okay,
Stick around.
if you need to add, see this is still bleeding, so it hasn't gotten too dry. If it stops bleeding, you need to take your water
And dip
and
it
just
in the
kind of add it to, just clean water and put it to those spots.
Oh, I was gonna say you just dump it.
Okay, our last color is purple. We're not going to use brown or black. If you want, you can do this.
That's pretty cool.
I don't want you to do it on all of it, and I want you to do it like this, because otherwise you guys get way too crazy if you're kind of going like this, okay? You're going to get
And then
it
it
on
flies
people.
backwards.
The other thing is, even though this is watercolor and should come out of your clothes, I want you all to be wearing paint shirts, because sometimes it doesn't quite.
What if we're wearing
wearing
bad
bad
shirts anyways?
Okay,
Because
so
my dog chewed this up pretty bad.
if I said you have to wear a paint shirt, you're wearing a paint shirt. So no matter what you've decided to wear today. So see how some of these that were earlier, they're already starting to spread out. Okay?
Can you smudge
All
them
right,
with your
then-
hands?
I'd rather no. I don't want. This isn't finger painting.
Well, I thought maybe you could like smudge
Okay.
them.
So we want it to be bright, and it can be light like this. What we don't want is it to be super duper dark, because we're going to go over it with the dark paint. Okay, where we're going to use very little water. There's a little bit of water pooling in the center. So what I can do
Dump it on the
is
floor.
before we put it on the drying rack. Drying rack. Well, you can, sponging it will, if you guys make a mistake, you can use paper towel to kind of lift up some of the paint. You're able to rinse it once if you go way too dark. But eventually, this paper's thicker because watercolor paper will take the water. But if you mess with it too much, it's going to start to fall apart and there'll start to be a hole in the center. So these will go on the drying rack, and I can help you put them on there. But if you have too much dark paint in the center, what'll happen is it'll pool to one side and drip onto somebody else's, and a lot of times it's like this ugly brown. So we can go over that with your dark paint, but we're going to try to have that not happen. So we can take this,
Would it work?
and I'm going to bring it to the sink and kind of drain some of it out.
Who says that?
Well, would it
Or-
work if you put one of those in there and it turned the water a different color? Could you mix the colors and put the paper in there and it will change it?
You could do that, but we're not going to be doing that.
Oh, is that a form of watercoloring? Or?
Probably. That would, for something different, that would work. And what I might do with this, since it's really wet still, so I'm just going to lay it on the counter, and then as it dries a little bit more, so because this is way more dry over here, then I'll put it on the drying rack. So otherwise, or maybe I'll do it later in the day, I'll put you guys this stuff on there. Okay? Any questions before we get started? Yes.
You know that bleeding thing back there? Can we do something like that for our background?
Yeah, it doesn't need to look like this. It's just showing that they should be, bleeding into each other. They can be more color than this.
So you can make
Yes.
awesome tie-dye?
You can. Okay?
Do we have to use like all those colors?
You probably should, but you can use more, some more than others if you want.
We should put them in
So-
order.
Well, we are doing lightest to darkest.
Oh,
put 'em
tie-dye.
all in the. If you want to, you can. Okay, I think we're done. Thank you, Grace.